Hi everyone, my name's Elizabeth, I'm a marine biologist and I go on this YouTube channel, Marine Mumbles. If you've not been here before, I have literally gone rockpooling hundreds of times and I usually go and film them and go and vlog them and tell you all about the weirdest and most wonderful sea life that you can find rockpooling in just a pair of wellies. I can't quite get my legs up that far. Wait, let me run further back. Wellies! Today is extra exciting because it is the first rock pool of the 2024 season. So I'm based in Scotland, and in a lot of places in the UK you can get out and rock pool a bit earlier, maybe, well, you know what, probably at any time of year, as long as it's like decent weather. Here in Scotland, not only is it usually stormy, which means that well, it's hard to get outside anyway, but the seawater in particular is very, very cold, and because a lot of my stuff is filming underwater things, my hands absolutely free. So we're going to see how that goes today. I'm hoping that early April is usually just early enough that I can get some filming done, and I do have a pair of gloves that I might try out later that are made of neoprene, stuff like wetsuits, so that might help as well. Luckily the weather has coincided with this absolutely gorgeous day, which is fabulous because yesterday was an actual storm. Kathleen's coming to mind? I don't know, there was an actual storm yesterday and tomorrow is torrential rain. This is the calm before the storm, and what a glorious day it is. And it just so happens to coincide with some very, very lovely low tides of spring. So I had to get out here. I had to start and to see what we can get. I'm so excited. But, so this is my first, I've rockpooled at St Andrews loads. This is where we are today, St Andrews in Scotland. And I've just come here, and this whole section here, all of this is completely different. So this, I think, was all basically uncovered under sand, and you can tell that it's brand new baby fresh rock. Well, it's not fresh rock, it's probably been there for ages, but newly exposed because there's nothing growing on it. You can see that bit there, it's got seaweed on, and all this over here is like completely blank and bare, and there's tons and tons and tons of pebbles that have rocked up, and there's never been this many pebbles chucked up on the shore. I know we've had some rough weather recently, and I think that's it. I think genuinely winter in Scotland has just pummeled this beach. It has completely stripped all this sand away. I mean, that's what, like this much sand at the very least to expose all these rocks, and just chucked an absolute ton of rocks up there. So I'm intrigued to go and see and find out, you know, what life is like kind of up there. For anyone kind of wondering, is this like a big, like, different shift? I will say storms are becoming more frequent with climate change. However, there's also quite a lot of storms in Scotland in winter. Probably a bit of a combination of the both, to be honest. Don't really have any data on that. That's just me contemplating. So I will say that I reckon that the stuff on this shore, yes, gets bashed and pummeled, but that is why I like rocky shore sea creatures. It's because they can take it. They are adapted to survive and try and live in such this unbelievably harsh environment that even though it's been pummeled, I bet this is not the first time this has happened before. And so I'm excited to see what all the creatures are doing to just have like survived the winter and come through. And I'll talk a bit more about the marine biology behind that and why some rock pooling stuff we won't find today, even though we will find it here later in the year. So stay tuned for some marine biology wisdom. I'm so excited. Yep. Okay, I remember now. Woo, that's not too bad, but that ain't the funnest. Water temperature. Woo. Okie dokie. Oh, right. So for anyone who doesn't know, and in all fairness, I never knew this before going to university and learning this, but if you're out and about and in the water quite a bit, you'll hopefully just learn this from like experience. But the warmest time in our oceans is in September, because water takes a while to heat up. So it gets hot all summer, September it gets the warmest, and then as the temperature starts to cool, it stays warm just for a bit, there's a bit of a lag, so that's why September is the warmest. October it starts to kind of drop off, and then it gets super cold over the winter, but it also means it then takes extra long to like heat up, so even as it gets warmer, like April, May, June, the water still gets quite cold, and it's particularly still cold in April. But before that is like even colder. And I always have to just make sure, I mean, even now, like in the colder months, April into May, I'm making sure that, like, usually in summer I could just go and sit, well, I wouldn't advise it, but if it's super warm, I can literally just go in my jeans and sit in a rock pool, which really winds my friend up that I don't have, like, proper waterproof walking trousery stuff, and hope maybe this year is the year I'll invest. Literally go and just sit in a pair of jeans in thing, but when it's colder water, you have to be extra careful. Like if I was to slip into a rock pool today and get really wet, I would probably have to leave straight away and go make sure I've got a spare change of clothes with me and get dry really quick, because it's deceiving how quickly water temperature, like how quickly you can get cold and not heat up with rock pools. And if it was like stormy, I wouldn't get anywhere near the shore really, or close to the water's edge, because it's just not worth the risk. Okay, so it is unbelievably, the water is unbelievably cold. Like, I've never known how to really solve this problem. Because I'm going to try with these. I have tried gloves a couple of times. I have 2 issues with the gloves. 3 issues actually. Firstly is that I have teeny weeny hands, and so no gloves in the history of the world have ever fitted me. It's less of a problem on land, but when it comes to this, because I have to change camera buttons and all this stuff underwater and settings and things, I need to be able to actually like use my fingers and not just be like all this glove everywhere. However, I think these will fix it. So these are fishing gloves, and so the point of when you're fishing is that when you're casting out, you need your finger skin able to hold on so that you can safely cast over your shoulder. And so fishing gloves actually have, apparently, which is what I found, little like, you can bend these sections back, but these are intact. So the actual fingers I use for my camera can like be flipped over, and they've got some nice Velcro, which I'm sure will get annoying. All filled with seaweed or something like that. But the second problem, the second main problem that I think I might have is that I've always found with neoprene gloves is it better to get your hands like cold and wet, then bring them out of the water and dry them very quickly? Because if you can do that, I think it lasts a bit longer. When you've already got all these gloves on all the time, if you keep them on, your hands are wet all the time, and so they don't heat up. They might get less cold because you've got the gloves on, but they don't get dry. And if you want to do that, if you want to like take the camera out, like if you want to take your hands out of the gloves, it's just faff, isn't it? You're just taking your hands out of gloves all the time instead of just drying it quickly. However, I just can't get shots for more than 10-20 seconds before it's just painful. So I'm gonna give this a whirl if it just gives me a bit longer to like search through and have a look in rock pools. I mean, also often gloves are great for you know, if you don't want to like get barnacle scrapes as much and all that stuff, I prefer being able to touch stuff with my hands, because it means that I can go and use that to identify stuff, or I can use that to make sure I'm not being too heavy-handed. And if I get a few barnacle cuts along the way, like my hands are just like paper cut sliced by barnacles all summer, I kind of get used to it and build up a tolerance. But yeah, so let's try this. Look at this. Fingily gloves. Fingily. Oh, my fingers are escaping. See, look, even in these gloves, that's how much of my fingers escape. My hands are so small. It's like just a little tiny stub. Okay, I've left my camera up to time lapse over there, hopefully getting some nice slow moving snails. So let's go test out the gloves and see how this works. It literally looks like I've got 8 minutes of just pure murk. That's so funny. It looks like some form of horror film. Oh my god, change the shell. Change into that shell. I actually think that's helpful, the gloves. Other than the fact that they're dripping over everything and disturbing some of the creatures, I actually think that that is keeping it slightly warmer. Oh, the hermit crabs are coming out in fashion now. I just love this bit. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing much because I'm just standing here. But if you just stand still for a couple of minutes in a rock pool, it's like the whole rock pool just thinks you're part of it and everything starts to come alive again. And you can just start to see what is really living in there. And so right now I can see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 moving hermit crabs. But there's loads. They just keep moving at different times. Oh. That hermit crab's eyeing up that shell again. Go on. You can do it. I believe in you. It looks like a nice shell. Swap for it. I could watch hermit crabs all day. They're so clumsy and so angry. And they're either falling over or fighting all the time. That's the 2 options. See, this is the sort of stuff that you cut out in YouTube videos, unless you've not found anything else exciting in the video, in which case I've kept this in. So there you are. You know how exciting the rest of the rockpooling trip is. While I film a time lapse over there, I can hear something scuttling. So let's turn a few rocks over, see if we can't pick ourselves up a rather cute crab that has decided to take shelter above the rocks. Some little eggies there. Ooh, wow. These gloves camouflage in with the wall, with the thing, so I'm going to have to remember to make sure I don't leave them anywhere. There's a very nice, cute, purpley worm. Hello, purple worm. You're the cute you are. There's also some little eggs. Eggies. So I'm not actually sure what's from. It could be these top shell eggs. See, beautifully striped things there. It could be those worm eggs. Or, well, it's not anemone eggs. Oh, it's on the move. Oh my god, there's also a teeny weeny crab. They're so small. Hi, Baba. Hi, baby. Where's your baby? That is the smallest, titchiest crab in existence in the world. Hey, darling. I think it's a baby edible crab because it's acting exactly like an edible crab would. It's just pretending it's a pebble. Be nice and gentle with this now. That is a tiny crab. It's the teeniest, tiniest crab. Hello, baby. Now it's doing exactly what it should be doing. When a big scary human comes along to pick it up, it's pretending it's a pebble. Leave that. Let's go with this rock. What is under you? A baby octopus would do. Ooh, little crab though. Crabby has run off though. The problem with it being such low vis. Ooh, a nice chitin. Little amphipod running around. And that's a baby anemone. Another one of those worms. It's wiggling about. Oh, hello. That kind in particular is very pretty. Ah, there's the crab. Gotcha. Hello, little one. You're a bit bigger than our friend we just had, but not by much. Beautiful. This is probably being mic'd up now. You hear all my commentary. Excuse me, could you put me down, please? Yes, I will, Mr. Crab. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Oh, you're stunning. I just love crabs so much. I mean, look at them. Absolutely super cute. Put him back nice and safe. No? Oh, that is a butterfish. Oh, nice and careful now. Oh, hello. Oh, it's so beautiful. Wow. Hello. Wow, they are never usually this well behaved. They usually scamper off. Wow. You're beautiful. Wow. Wow. Look at this gorgeous fish. Oh, there you go. That's what they usually like. Oh, incredible. Wow. Let me tell you that never happens. Never. That never ever happens. Usually I wouldn't advocate for like picking up small fish, but that in all fairness was quite big for that species. But also because as you saw at the end, it like flipped off like this. Butterfishes are known for that because most of the time I would never see them. But I see them all the time because what I see is this splashing and then like they swim off. And so to actually find an individual that is that chill, it's so chill. It was unbelievable. I had to take that chance to like get it on camera and just have a look at that beautiful species because honestly, out of the hundreds of butterfish I've ever seen in my life, that is the chillest one. It's probably one of the chillest fishes I've ever seen. That was what an amazing wildlife encounter. That was absolutely phenomenal. That was so incredible. That was actually like, what a highlight. What a start to the rockpooling season. Stunning to get that picture on that camera, on my 4K camera that does all the fancy. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. As you can see, it is absolutely an incredible morning. The fact that the sun is feeling warmth, like I'm getting warmth from the sun right now in Scotland in April, is just so unbelievably lovely. I mean, sure, I am in a top 2 fleeces, including one that's like thermal and made for climbing up a mountain, and a coat, sure. But the sun is still making it warm. So I've made loads and loads and loads of these rockpooling vlogs. I absolutely love making them because I feel like I'm bringing people with me rockpooling. Even though I rockpool a lot on my own, I get to share the amazing, incredible things that I find. But scattered in, I also go off and film other stuff while I'm doing these rockpooling vlogs. And that's a lot of what maybe I'm going to be focusing on because I want to make some cool content. I want to do an experiment and make all these awesome cool videos to bring you and share with you, but I just can't bring myself to give up that like rockpooling vlog section. I love it so much. I love chatting to you all and I love sharing about the creatures. So I think I'm always just going to be doing rockpooling vlogs. But let me know what you think of what's your favourite? Do you like the rockpooling vlogs? Do you like the fancy videos where I go off and do documentary things? Do you like it when I do scientific art? Let me know. I'm always interested to hear. And I'm still probably going to do all of them. But I can do... I can listen. I can take into account. Did you know how you can really choose and take into account? You can sign up to my Patreon, which I've got. And there on my Patreon, you can access exclusive content and also do votes about what I'm going to do. So I'll be like, I'm going to do an art video. What do you want me to draw? And I'll put the poll out there. Or I'm going to go film rockpooling. What do you want me to do? A silly dance on the beach video? Do you want me to do a documentary video? That kind of stuff. I'm always up for that. And you get a cute little rockpooling drawing if you sign up to a certain tier. So I'm creating like a little digital rock pool that sits at the end of all my videos. There you go. God, I've even apparently got time. This is how much I care about the Patreon. I'm giving up precious tide timing to promote the Patreon, and I wouldn't do that if I didn't believe that having the Patreon helps support me, helps me go rockpooling, helps support the channel, and helps me make all this. So that is how important I think it is, which is why I set it up. Otherwise I wouldn't have done. So it's so lovely here, but the tide is coming in as always. I mean, I always argue that I think the tide should never come back in. I know it needs to come back in so all the sea creatures are fine, which obviously I want that to happen, but I would just like the ability to be able to rockpool forever. If someone could work on me growing gills, that would be grand. Yeah, so I'm going to head back in because this will, you see here, will breach this bit of rock and then come across. And I've rockpooled St Andrews enough to know, great lower shore. This bit here, mid-shore, meh. Some shores have a good mid-shore. This shore in particular, I've never found a ton of amazing stuff here. I think what tends to happen is that either people or the species go low shore or they go up right at the top because there's some great big rock pools there, and it gives them like an extra hour or two really out of the sea, which is kind of the point of things staying in rock pools. So here seems to be a mix of the two. So I'm going to head back up and see what we can find at the top of the shore. But I'm always just, oh, it's just so stunning here. It's really, really, really beautiful. Oh, this is my happy place. It's just stunning. And the fact that it's early morning and the sun has been coming up, it's just all this seaweed is just glistening. I mean, wow. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else than right here, right now. What is incredibly obvious from, say, rockpooling around the rest of the year is just how little darty around things are, and how that makes a lot of when there are things like crabs, or I've seen a few little shrimpy things, they are so much less charismatic. They're much more aware, they're much more sheepish, and that makes sense because, you know, if I was a big scary heron and I was coming along here to eat things, there's less picking, so anything that moves is going to be a target. Whereas as we get further through the rock pooling season, there'll just be life everywhere. Baby fish, shrimp, crabs, hermit crabs, all the different types of snails, worms. There'll just be so much stuff darting around that you are much less of risk that if something is going to get eaten, it is going to be you. Things are still cautious, but not to the same degree. And as I said at the start of this vlog about, you know, seeing what won't be there and what will be there in the storms, because winter is just so unbelievably hard to survive, a lot of animals will do different things. There's not much point trying to get through winter. What you need... So what happens is that about early April, all of the stuff that has lived will spawn, and within the space of a couple of weeks, everyone basically breeds, puts their little larvae into the water to get them into rock pools, swimming about, find new places to settle, find new places to live. They'll make eggs that will be on the shore, and they'll start to hatch. So there'll be, within the space of a couple of weeks, just all this baby sea life around. And the reason that they all kind of time up together, and they do it a lot of the time by temperature, is because, again, the more there are, the less chance that your baby is going to get eaten. If there's hundreds of thousands of things floating around in the water, chances are it's not always going to be yours. And so that happens. And so in the space of a couple of weeks, these rock pools will all change. Now, I'm probably not going to come back rock pooling here until the end of April, and I think within that time frame we could see that happen. So I could come back here and just see so much baby life, and this happens, like, it's literally as soon as the temperature warms up enough, they're getting their larvae out there, because they need all summer to grow. They are feeding and growing and eating and trying to live, and lots of them don't. It's very competitive, because by the time it gets to September, October, they have to either be big enough to go off and leave and survive offshore, or they need to be able to outlive winter, or if you're a really short-lived species, you need to be able to grow up, have your own babies and start the cycle again. And so it's all really productive, it's all really go, there's so much pressure going on, and right now we are right before the calm before the storm of just all this life happening. So the creatures that are still around are experienced, they're hardy, they're adults, they are waiting for the right chance to make sure that they can breed. They're not going to be taking any risks because they know that they are literally almost, they've made it all the way through winter and they are almost there. One thing I don't actually know a lot about is how and if sea slugs outlast winter, live through winter, or if they must do somehow. So I'm on the lookout to see if I can answer that question for myself and see if I can see them. The other thing about winter is that the viz is just awful. It's been churned up so much, especially since there was literally a storm yesterday, that there's just all the sediment and the stuff in the water just hasn't had a chance to settle yet, and it is just every time you step or touch something, you just get all of this which is just awful for filming. But I don't actually know how that impacts animals. I wonder if it's a bit of... Is catch-22 the right way? Probably not. I've been watching The Office, the American Office, a lot recently, and Michael just gets all of the catchphrases wrong, so I might just start using them incorrectly anyway. Where having higher, lower viz, being murky, and if you don't have to hunt for your food, might be good because it protects you, gives you a bit of shelter from predators, but then also you're less likely to see things that are going to eat you. So I don't know if it's actually better or worse for creatures. There's probably a study somewhere, something to look up. I love this seaweed, sea oak. In peak summer, it's just home to so much. I found little tiny sea slugs living on it. I have found sticklebacks love it. These long fish that really just blend in. You almost lose them in the sea oak. And I love the name. This is just depressing. So much plastic. See, this is why I'm wondering if there is just, whether it's just storms or like, look, there's just like so much plastic in the water today. It's, oh, I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Gloves. Every time. I'm not sure I'm a fan of these gloves. I've already gone back twice to try and pick them up because they blend in. Whoop. I don't know what to do about it. There's just so much plastic today. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I can try and take some, but it's just like one of those things where I'd need about 14 hands and sad. But I would call that a very successful first rockpooling vlog of 2024. So excited! I think that butterfish was phenomenal. One of the best things, one of the best fish I've ever spotted and ever seen. That was incredible. And then the reason I have just like teleported from a nice rocky shore to the sandy beach is because I got very distracted filming tube worms feeding. They are beautiful, they are gorgeous, they've got these lovely amazing tentacles that come out brightly coloured, but they're a bit shy sometimes. You don't often see them like out and about really going for it, and long enough for me to film it without even, because usually if I like jiggle the camera just even a little bit, they'll like zoom back in, but I got some amazing close-up footage of them feeding from the little particles flowing through the water, and I wonder if that's a benefit of filming a bit earlier, a bit closer into like winter time, because there's so much in the water, so sedimenty, that even the tube worms are like, look, I know you're filming me, I know we're usually shy, but I got some feeding to do. I have got to get all this nutrients and yumminess and keep growing, so I'm just going to do my thing. If you just don't disturb me, that's fine. So we had a nice little agreement, but then, I mean, there's still plenty of time, but I like to be extra safe, so I like turned around and was like, I should make sure I'm on this part of the beach from now on. So I headed in, but that was amazing. That was so good. Now stay tuned and subscribe for the rest of the 2024 rockpooling season, and go check out a ton of other videos that I've done rockpooling in the past. I am very excited for my plans and adventures for this year. I'm very excited to be back on lovely beaches. See you in the next video.